country lead for Remote. Remote is a nonprofit organization. We used to be 100% volunteer powered until we got funding. Now I'm fully employed with them. Right? So we are a community of communities, and we're trying to build communities of remote workers. So what we do is we try to normalize remote working. So our motto is we make remote work local, and that means that we want everybody to know what remote working is, what are the opportunities available out there, and how it can change lives. We have, how do I move to the next slide? We are in 17 countries, 171 chapters, and we have done over 400 plus events. We were founded 2018. We were founded 2018 September. I joined the organization in October, and I have been with them ever since. And basically what we do is, our main focuses are for individuals, companies, and for communities. We train individuals so that they would be remote work ready. So that means that we give out free trainings to find where jobs are and how to work remotely. For companies, we help companies transition from in-office to remote or hybrid. And for communities, we help communities like CreativeMornings enable them so that they can go ahead and do what they do best and bring the community together. And hopefully, by helping all of these areas, we will be able to normalize remote working. It's too much information to be sharing in just 5 minutes, but if you want to go ahead and connect with me afterwards, I am here and you can connect with me. That's it.
I want to make this as much of a conversation as possible, so I'm going to ask you to please provide me with questions and comments. You didn't ask me to tell you a little bit about my story, I guess, but mostly I'm going to talk about Fortitude, the future of education, and what we're trying to do around here. So I'm Portuguese, born and raised in Lisbon, and studied economics here at Nova. And after, when I was about 25, I went to INSEAD in France to do a PhD in finance. And after that, I got a job in the United States at UCLA, at the University of California in Los Angeles as a professor, and spent there the next 10 years, sort of, going through the academic career, starting out as an assistant professor, then associate, and full professor. But surprisingly, so in 2012, I started that project. We were at that time in an old building in the middle of the city, and at the time we didn't have anything. We didn't have land or a budget or a team or anything. It was literally me with 3 pages in my hand to talk to different people. And 6 years later, we actually inaugurated a new campus for the school. It's a big adventure. We first found a place in Cascavelos. I don't know if you've been to the school. If you haven't, you should, because it's kind of fun. Slowly over time, I built a team of mostly alumni, or some of them had been my students. Very young people. I think they were like 24, 25 at the time we started. And I started asking for money from companies and individuals, and it actually worked out. I mean, quite honestly, I'm not sure. I found a new vocation as a beggar. But it's fun. We thought. So the first step was thinking what the school should be and what the campus should be like, and we came up with this idea that the only chance for a relatively small school, a relatively poor school, to compete globally would be to leverage on partnerships with companies, with institutions, with the municipality. We came up with this concept of an open campus that's the opposite of the ivory tower. You know, traditionally, universities have been described as ivory towers in the sense that they're sort of closed to the outside world. You know, our faculty, our programs, our students, and we came up with the anti-ivory tower concept. I think at the time I used a lot the metaphor of the iPhone. You know, in around 2007, when the iPhone came out, 2008, I'm not sure. Before that, you had the big telcos thinking of 3G coming up and thinking that there would be a lot of internet on their mobile phones, and then you had companies like Vodafone thinking, oh, we're going to provide everything. We're going to provide the news and games and all sorts of live streaming and entertainment and so on, and build huge organizations. And then the iPhone comes up with a very simple idea, which is the App Store. We're an open platform, and anybody who wants to develop content can do so and put it on our App Store. And we totally killed everybody else. Vodafone sort of disappeared from the map soon after. And the concept for the campus was exactly that, which is we're not going to be able to do it all ourselves, so we're going to provide an open platform for other institutions, groups, startups, innovation teams from companies, and so on to come to the campus and do their stuff. And as long as everything is aligned with the mission of the school, we'll be able to leverage on all that to do 10 times more than we would be able to do on our own. And I think it's an interesting concept. It's reflected in the architecture. If you go to the campus, you'll see lots of unusual things for a business school. And so I think it went well. We did a large fundraising campaign, at least for the scale of the country. We were able to raise some 52 million euros in donations, which was, I think, unheard of in this country. And it actually turns out that a lot of people were, willing to donate and to get involved, and I think that was transformed. We inaugurated the campus in 2018, and then sort of soon after, with my team, we decided that we actually enjoyed doing difficult projects with little money. I think that was the original mission of the company that we started early 2019, which is called Shaken Not Stirred. So 5 of us, so it's me with a few kids who are my partners now. And we decided to start Shaken Not Stirred to do, I think we had 2 alternative missions for this company. One was doing difficult projects with little money. The alternative was doing projects that we like with people who we like. And I think we've been managing to do just that. So over the last 3 years, what we did was first launch School 42, and I'll tell you a little bit about these. And now we're working on 2 other very ambitious projects. One is called Miles in the Sky. It's an edtech startup. We've developed a very innovative learning platform that we're now trying to launch globally. And the other one is Tumo. It's my guess is that some of you, or my hope is that some of you will get involved in that, because these are centers for creativity and technology for kids from ages 12 to 18 that we want to launch across the country in the next few years. I'll come back to that in a bit. So School 42. So first off, why would an economist launch a software engineering school? And quite honestly, I think for two reasons. One is that there is a huge lack of software engineers in the country. I really think this is one of the most important bottlenecks to develop the economy over the next few years. So I think there's a very obvious need. But at the same time, I first saw this school in 2017, and I absolutely fell in love with the pedagogical concept of the school. And so we really decided that we have to do it here. It took us quite a while. The most difficult thing, it turned out, was to find a space to do the school. Real estate is expensive. There aren't very large open spaces in the city. So it took it, and actually, for the longest time, we thought there would be some public entity who would supply us the space. You know, either the city hall or some ministry or this. So we spent a year talking to lots and lots of people, and it was a total failure. So eventually we found this building, which used to be an industrial printing company, and I think in 3 months we were able to furnish it in the middle of a pandemic and stuff like that, but it went rather well. And we first announced the school about a year and a half ago, and things surprised us for being much better than we ever hoped they would be. Since then, we've had more than 22,000 candidates, which is pretty amazing because it's more than any university in this country. And this for a school that was unknown to everybody a year and a half ago. So what is 42 about? It is a school that's really different in many dimensions from what we all have experienced in our lives or we have seen. This is a school that first off is very inclusive. Anybody can apply, regardless of your previous academic experience or work or whatever, you can try it. It's very hard to get in, but anyway, as you can imagine, you know, we have 400 students right now. We had more than 22,000 candidates, so it is pretty tough. And you have to go through some online tests, which, by the way, I invite you all to try because they're fun. It's logical games and stuff. Then you come and do the PC, which is a 4-week-long boot camp, very intensive. You're going to learn how to code in C. It is quite an experience. You know, everybody goes through it, says so that it's life-changing, really, in 4 weeks. You're not going to get much sleep, but other than that, it's a lot of fun. And then, if you're selected, you start the program. The program takes about, on average, 3.5 years to complete. But it's also a very innovative program. This is a school where there are no teachers and no classes, yet there's a big pedagogical team that's always developing and updating and maintaining a platform that leads the students through a sequence of challenges. And then it's up to the students to research the knowledge that's needed to work on those challenges with a lot of collaboration. And this, to me, is fascinating. I think in pedagogy, we've known for more than 100 years that what really works is this problem-based learning, peer-to-peer collaboration. Certainly since Jean Piaget at the beginning of last century did his work. And yet this was never applied. I mean, in most cases we still have these technology from the Industrial Revolution, you know, that looks a little bit like a factory line where we move students from room to room to take subjects, and everybody's learning the same thing at the same pace. Pretty much unidirectional communication. You have a guy like me standing in front of a room like this and talking, and it's very ineffective. It's expensive. It doesn't engage a lot of people, and yet we keep doing it. And the fascinating thing about School 42 is the fact of how can we use technology to implement better pedagogy. So there's this learning platform that looks a little bit like a computer game. The program has 21 levels, and you have to do the first level to move on to the second and to the third. And each of these levels corresponds to some challenge that's given to the students. And your first reaction is always like, what the hell, I don't even understand what they're asking me. And you have to Google it and go on YouTube, and all the knowledge these days is available online. So if you search, you'll find it, and then you ask for help from your neighbor on the right, from your neighbor on the left, and all 42 students around the world are connected through Slack. So with a lot of collaboration, with a lot of self-learning, you really are able to do things. And so the process is always get a challenge, look it up, ask for help, try to solve it. Quite often you're going to fail. Everybody fails around this school, and that's part of the process, and failing is incredibly important. Or the freedom to fail, as opposed to, if you want, traditional schools where failing is something to be avoided at all costs. Here, it just happens, and that's cool. You try again, and this is what also frees you to be creative, to try different things, and then at the end of when you submit a project, the platform randomly selects 3 colleagues who have to book a time with you, sit next to you, and evaluate your work. And so, what really is cool about this school is that besides the technical knowledge, the coding skills that the students are developing, what they're really doing here is they're learning to learn. And this is probably the most important skill for the next decades. Everything we know is going to quickly become obsolete. So either we know how to learn on our own, or we're going to become obsolete ourselves. And so the cool thing here is that you're learning, a very hard skill, coding, but at the same time you're developing your soft skills of problem solving and collaboration and autonomy and resilience and communication and self-evaluation. And it is fascinating. And after breakfast or in all this, if you want to just visit the school, feel free and just start the conversation with anybody up there. Mornings here are kind of slow, quite honestly. People, this school gets full in the afternoon and sometimes late at night, but mornings are kind of soft. But there will be people, so just present yourselves and ask them to show you the school. And so we're very happy. We now have 400 students. I guess in a year and a half we'll reach about 700 or 800, which is the capacity of this school. This summer we're going to open a second 42 school in the country in Porto. And that's it. So we're now in the middle of a fundraising campaign. If you have ideas of who we can ask, please feel free to let me know. And also I'm going to challenge you guys to take a photo inside our pool. And the swimming pool is a big metaphor for this school. It's this idea, instead of the way to learn how to swim is let's throw 100 people into a swimming pool and then challenge them to move their arms, move their legs, put their head under water and make bubbles. And Then at some point we'll challenge them to, go to the bottom of the pool and pick up a coin. And everybody freezes because, how are you going to do that if you don't know how to swim? But if there are 100 people in the pool, someone will try, and someone will succeed, and the others will see, and they'll ask her how she did it, and she can explain you, and you can try yourself until you all do it. And that's the metaphor for how we learn. Okay. Final quick word about what's coming up. So now, the 5 original people that started Shaken have become about 25. Besides 42, we are working on a new project called Tumo. And it's also based on philanthropy, so it's a school that's tuition free for the students. And these are centers for creativity and technology for kids between the ages of 12 to 18 who come to the center after school and on weekends. And over the course of 3 years, they develop a portfolio of projects in 3 areas that they choose out of 14 possible areas. And these areas go from creative writing, to drawing, to music, to photography, filmmaking, animation, programming, robotics, game development, web development. So it's a mixture of technology and creativity. Each of these centers is large. It's for at least 1,500 students. So we're in the process of talking to a lot of cities throughout the country, trying to find a space, trying to find sponsors. If all goes well, I hope that by the beginning of next year we'll open the first one. But the goal here is the goal I think is too much. The dream is to open 10 of these centers to reach 20 to 30,000 kids and really try to transform the next generation. Because again, just like 42, they're not just learning those creative and technical skills, the very model of learning is going to develop in them. It's a school with no classes and no teachers. There's a platform that leads them through challenges and stuff and a lot of collaboration. The goal here is to developing these students also these skills of autonomy and self-confidence and collaboration and problem solving and make them sort of more creative, more able to do things. And again, a lot of you I think can help us because we're going to need workshop leaders, we're going to need people to get involved in these projects. So if you're up to new challenges, let me know. And the last one is this Miles in the Sky startup, where we've developed our own learning platform, again based on these principles of problem-based learning, peer-to-peer collaboration, and we're working on developing programs in lots of different areas, from medicine and biology to finance and political science, both for universities and for corporations, and so we're very excited and hope that this will succeed. And again, if you have ideas for programs that you would want to try out, let me know. So to wrap it up, thank you very much for coming. Enjoy, visit the school if you can. Take a picture in there and see how big is your reach in the social networks. Help us make the school better and enjoy. Thank you all.